Alright, I'm going to interrupt my looking at Southwestern books. In fact, the ones I had sitting out up here. We'll get to them in the next video. Maybe later today since I missed yesterday. Look at some books I got from my old high school, which I've been working at. I'm going to write an essay called Mr. Smith Goes to Monsanto. It's going to be about the 5 times I've been at the school in my life and what it all means. First, I was there as a high school student in the 90s. I was a wild, really insane kid that got in all kinds of trouble and had a stroke at one point. What the heck? Not because of drugs or anything. Aubrey Plaza had a stroke when she was young. It happens. It'll probably happen more now in our COVID world. COVID can increase stroke risk. We're all full of microplastics. That's great. A study out of UNM in my town here found that a plastic spoon's worth of plastic was in some of the brains that they liquefied and analyzed. Perhaps some of those were naturally occurring amino acids, let's hope. But plastic seems to go right to the brain. You know, if we could go back in time, we shouldn't bring plastic into society in the same way. It has really proven to be a damaging thing to people and environments. But they'll probably have enzymes to break it down sometime in the future. Humans are kind of amazing at figuring things out. I mean, at one point, humans thought horse manure is going to completely take over cities. The technology just changed so significantly that that was no longer a problem. There's big advances being made in fusion right now. It's crazy. I have this MSN homepage at work, and it just keeps throwing up articles that I'll think I'll be interested in, and they're all about fusion lately, and there's so much stuff. Anyway, this is a great metaphor too. When I write about this, I gotta remember this. Where I sit is directly below a library. There's a library above my head. The library is the second floor. The admin building is the first floor. And I can go through this back hallway and go right up some stairs and be in the library. And yesterday there was just nothing going on, so I went up there and talked with Carrie, the librarian. There's only been like 5 or 6 librarians in this school's history. It's a long-held job. It becomes an institution there. The school's been around since the early 60s. But I walked in and she was rocking out to Spin Doctors. I thought that was so funny. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I used to listen to back when I was a little middle schooler on my way to going here. That's so funny. We talked about roots rock being left out of the 90s story, but it was a big part of it. Jam influenced roots rock, that kind of stuff. My favorite joke in the show AP Bio is about a character quoting a Sugar Ray lyric in a yearbook, and then defensively saying, it was the 90s, man, we were all into the California sound. Zeitgeists are real. Anyway, here's what I found in the library. I also found this 4-volume history of witchcraft that I gave away. Pretty cool. An encyclopedia of witchcraft. A book about how to read comics. A couple of anthologies and a Sylvia Plath biography that I gave to another secretary in the office that's also a reader, an artist and poet and writer. Anyway, you know, after the purge, when I cut my collection down from 11,000 to 3,000 or 4,000 books, the collection you see before you now, tragic, foolish time that should never be repeated. I was out of my mind. What was I doing? Getting rid of books? That's like a period of self-harm or something. But I kind of had to, because I couldn't have gotten people to help me move the whole collection, and it was already asking a lot to fill a giant U-Haul. Anyway, I kind of got rid of most library-ish stuff, with things with markings and so on. But I'm going to let that creep back into the collection a little, because a book is a book, you know? And it shows, if you have that kind of stuff, that you're not just having the books as little tokens to collect, you know? It's good to care about the content of your collection, you know? Monsanto is pretty much getting rid of all of their books of criticism. Books about books were being heavily weeded out. There were 5 carts of things, and I had to look just in a real hurry because you can only step away from your desk so long, you know? This one's kind of funny for being longer than the Book of Mice and Men. It looks like twice as long. But it's criticism about it. I kind of love that. I bet I'm going to get rid of this one because I thought I had this in paperback, but I don't. The Member of the Wedding. And I don't think I like Carson McCullers enough to keep this until at least I've read some more of her novels. I read about half of The Heart is a Lonely Hunter before I misplaced it. And I thought it was pretty good, but I also thought, wow, people let her get away with a lot of really dated attitudes and things. I thought it was okay, though. I thought it was, I don't know. Sometimes prose styles don't grab me that seem to grab other people, you know? I'm like the movie critic that's like watched a lot of movies, and so I'm a little snobby. I think I'm gonna freebox that one. And I'm not sure. I thought I had a paperback copy of The Magnificent Ambersons, but I think I got rid of that during the purge. I haven't seen it on the shelf recently. But this was, of course, the movie version of this was Orson Welles' follow-up to Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane is amazing and influential and important. Made by a young person that's so crazy, in his 20s. This was his follow-up, and it's pretty good, but you can tell the studio messed with it. It's choppy in parts, etc. And it's about a really interesting thing, you know, a family transformed by automobiles being invented. Wells had a lot of good ideas. Anyway, so I know it's a cool, interesting story, and apparently the book is good too. Flannery O'Connor, hermit novelist. That's kind of cool. She was racist and dismissive of James Baldwin. Suggested he should know his place and stuff. What? That said, the story of Wise Blood is awesome, and I love that movie. And she is a good writer. And yeah, try find Southern writers that don't have some racism from this era. But this is cool, I think. Oh, here's for the memoir shelf. That's nice. Doris Lessing, My Autobiography, Volume 1. Winner of the freaking Nobel Prize for Literature. That's so cool. And what's cool about that is they don't give the Nobel Prize out every year. You have to be kind of awesome to get it. Reminds us of what an autobiography can do in the hand of a master. Okay, that's a blurb I'd like someday. Huh. Summons this girl from half a century ago with such freshness and immediacy that she seems alive today. How neat. Born to British parents in Persia in 1919. Hey, that's the year my grandparents were born on my mom's side. And moved with her family to southern Rhodesia. Your family was racist. When she was 5 years old. Rhodesia, otherwise known as Zimbabwe. Come on. She went to England in 1940 and has lived there ever since. She is the author of more than 30 books, novels, stories, reportage, poems, and plays. Lives in London. Rhodesia, huh? Now I'm like, I kind of see why you got weeded, lady. Librarians call it when they get rid of stuff, weeding. To follow a Tumblr that was a weeding blog, a librarian posting hilarious, outdated old stuff. But I like some of that stuff, it's funny. Okay, I'll check it out, but I'm tempted to weed the Rhodesian. It was like a major racist experiment. I don't know anything about Doris Lessing, honestly. Where's my time? Nobel Prize, there's that. Alright, Saved by a Nobel Prize. Hey, look at this on Conrad's Heart of Darkness. That's pretty cool. Wonder if the secret share comes up in here. I'm gonna look it up. Those of you new to the channel might not know that I'm rereading The Secret Sharer by Joseph Conrad every month for this whole year. So I've read it a dozen times. I'm also doing a ton of additional research and just trying to dive deep, you know. The Scarlet Letter. Notes on the Scarlet Letter. That's cool. I like lit crit books, you know. If they're not for like too young of an audience. Okay, awesome. I've been around Harper's Ferry, Virginia, where this all went down. John Brown was a man of principle. I like him. The man who killed slavery, sparked the Civil War, and seeded civil rights. John Brown. He's all, slavery sucks. I'm just going to overthrow it myself. Let's see a fictionalized, like Mission Impossible style series about John Brown just kicking ass. Oh, kicking rear. Yeah, I haven't been swearing on this channel because perhaps the young ones will watch it. But I think John Brown's pretty awesome. It's a beautiful book. I mean, look at this. Why are they getting rid of this? I gotta say, their tags are way on there too. Oh well. This looks interesting and weird, but I'm like, do I want to keep this? It's kind of got an Archie-like style. Should I at least read this? Mr. Negativity and Other Tales of Supernatural Law. Dan Clowes like this guy. Jeff Smith. Okay. Walt Kelly, Will Eisner. Huh. Carl Barks. No, that's not what he's saying at all. Okay, this guy says they're good. Well then, supernatural law. I haven't read a comic in a long while. Maybe I'll read this. The books are in different sections this time. I listened to the audiobook of this long ago, and it was so interesting. IBM and the Holocaust. The Holocaust really happened because of, at the scale of death at which it did, because of its organizational punch card system that was provided by IBM. This early computing thing, that's where it was marked what minorities people were a part of, how they were to be disposed of, basically. Strategic alliance between Nazi Germany and America's most powerful corporation. Yeah, this is a crazy book. And it's really about wartime profiteering and just how the modern world was made economically. These companies that benefited from the Holocaust are still around. I mean, IBM being among the worst offenders. I've watched IBM's Wikipedia entry on this book and these events get diminished and disappear at times over the years. They must have people monitoring that all the time. Downplay. But the letters quoted from IBM's president are so damning. Like, we are not a political company. We do not take sides. We seek out profit. I had to have a book of this for myself. I'm going to try to remove that tag. No dust jacket, hardcover, but it's good. Good content to have. Biography of Art Spiegelman, creator of Mouse. Add that to the Art Crits section. I think Mouse is great. I also love MetaMouse, his book about making mouse. Really has a lot of depth, as much as any literary work. I think that tag will come off, because it's a shiny hardcover. This looks so cool. The Chronology of American Literature. Is that the Jasper Johns piece, or just part of it? I love books like this. The Chronology of American Literature. I should just read this cover to cover like I read the Moses Coit Tyler one. That's a great topic. I love knowing about American literature and thinking about my place within it. And of course, you know, world literature. Like, we're all adding our pieces. Eventually it'll be Earth literature. But wasn't that an Earth Rider from the 2000s? But this is one for the content. From the colonial era to modern times. Right on. I'm surprised it doesn't quote Moses Coit Tyler. But this looks awesome. 805 pages. Awesome. Let's go with writing or with crit. My crit. But I do want to read it. Founder of Rhode Island, formerly Aquidneck. Isn't that a weird name? Anne Hutchinson. Driven along with a couple of others out of the Massachusetts colony because she had kind of a left-leaning, individualistic take on religion and personal revelation, kind of foreshadowing the Mormon breakaway from Christianity. Charged with heresy under a theocratic reign, sparking the antinomian dispute, 1600s. Late 1600s, I'm forgetting the decade. But she's kind of interesting, kind of a Hildegard von Bingen visionary type. Signature Lives of Colonial America. I bet this is kind of toward younger readers, but I bet it has really useful information. It's kind of cool to center her character. It looks well illustrated. Puritan protester. Whoa, Anne Hutchinson. Oh, another crit book. I'll read this when I read the Catch-22 book. Responses to Catch-22. Nice. Look at all those books. Crypt books. That's awesome. And I just couldn't pass this by because I love Van Gogh. Portrait of an Artist. What's up, fella? Yeah, I mean... Oh, wow, this is beautiful. Honestly, I could see this getting cut up for these drawings, these paintings. At some point I can frame them. Keep. Yeah, some of these books are kind of, they're like, have their front pages ripped out, marked up and stuff. I'm a snob. I want only higher quality books in my collection unless there's multiple reasons. I'll get an adult biography of Anne Hutchinson. if I really get into Carson McCullers someday, I'll track down more criticism. And this comic just doesn't look like something I want to invest my time in. Thinking about it, but I guess you can't help where you're born. But what this is, I'll pry that sticker off there for now. Sometimes they sit on top of other books for a minute before they get reorganized.